There's a term in decision theory called satisficing. It means accepting the first option that feels good enough instead of continuing to search for the optimal one. It was coined in 1956 by Herbert Simon while studying how humans actually make decisions, not how economists assumed we did. And the finding was uncomfortable. Humans don't optimize. They stop searching the moment discomfort ends. This single idea explains why so many traders fail, even when they have a winning strategy. The hidden mistake. Traders keep making. I thought about satisficing last week while reviewing trade journals from 3 different traders who reached out after blowing their second funded challenge. All 3 had winning strategies on paper. All 3 had done the backtesting. All 3 followed their rules. And all 3 made the exact same mistake, one that had nothing to do with entries, indicators, or risk management. They satisficed their process. They found something that worked once. They felt relief. And they locked it in. Then the market changed. Their edge didn't. Because they stopped iterating the moment things felt stable, they had no framework for adaptation when conditions shifted. Why trading education gets this backwards. There's a stage of cognitive development psychologists call the conformist stage. At this stage, truth is determined by what's popular, what's accepted, what the group believes. Not by direct investigation. Roughly 50% of people operate here, according to Spiral Dynamics research. Not because they're unintelligent, but because conformity historically meant safety. The problem? Markets do not reward conformity. Every standard retail approach, support and resistance, indicator crossovers, pattern recognition, exists because enough traders adopted it for it to become the default. The default feels like doing the work. The default is what YouTube teaches. The default is comfortable. And the default is exactly what institutions target. Why retail traders become liquidity. When institutions need to execute size, they don't look for fair value. They engineer situations where retail traders are forced to act at unfair value. They know exactly where stops are clustered, because conformists all learned from the same sources. So the question isn't, did you learn the right patterns? The real question is, did you learn the patterns that everyone else learned? Because if you did, you didn't optimize for profits. You optimized for being exit liquidity. The trait that actually separates profitable traders across performance research, trading, business, athletics, one concept keeps showing up. Agency. Not corporate agency. Psychological agency. Agency is the ability to act without permission, test without validation, iterate when things fail instead of freezing. High-agency traders treat the market like an experiment. They form a hypothesis. They test it. They expect failure, because failure is data. Then they adjust and test again. Low-agency traders do what they're told. And when it doesn't work, they assume either they're the problem or the information is flawed. Both conclusions send them back to searching for the next strategy someone else validated. Why strategy hopping never works. The traders who eventually pass challenges and scale capital all share one trait. They iterate without permission. They don't wait for confirmation. They don't need a guru to validate their thesis. They test, measure, adjust, repeatedly. The traders who cycle through strategies, courses, and funded challenges, they're not learning. They're searching for a configuration that lets them stop thinking independently. They want to suffice. Skill versus system thinking. The trader who specializes in a single setup, a single pair, a single time frame, has optimized for one market condition. When that condition shifts, and it always does, they're exposed. The trader who understands market mechanics, how liquidity works, why price moves, what institutions need to execute size, can adapt across any market, any time frame, any condition. This is the difference between learning a skill and understanding a system. Skills get arbitraged away. Understanding compounds. If you know why stops get hunted, you can spot them anywhere. If you know why fair value gaps fill, you can anticipate them forming. If you know why funded challenges are structured the way they are, you can build a process designed for those constraints. The shift that changed everything. After my third blown account and roughly $30,000 in lessons, something finally clicked. I stopped looking for the strategy and started building the process. A strategy is static. When I see X, I do Y. A process is adaptive. When I see X, I do Y, measure results, compare to expected value, identify deviation, update the hypothesis, and test again. One reacts. The other evolves. Why most traders stay stuck? Every trader I've watched scale past 6 figures expects their edge to degrade. They have systems for detecting it early. Frameworks for adapting before drawdown forces the issue. The traders who stay stuck defend their strategy emotionally, because abandoning it means the search starts again. And they already decided they were done searching. The goal isn't to find a setup that works forever. That setup doesn't exist. The goal is to build iteration capacity, the ability to extract value from what works now and transition before the edge disappears. That's agency applied to markets, and the difference between hoping to pass and expecting to.